Hello guys, before we can write codes to interact with the GPT model, we have to understand how to interact with the API and what kind of message format we should use for the communication. You can browse to the API reference page of OpenAI for the detailed info of the chat compilation API. But to help you out, I'll summarize the most important and necessary parts for you. How does the chat compilation API work? In order for our application to chat with the GPT model, we follow these 3 steps. Firstly, we establish a secure HTTPS connection to the chat compilation API URL. Secondly, we send a prompt to the API. A prompt basically is the message or the question you send to the GPT model. And thirdly, the GPT model sends back an answer to respond to your prompt. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Now here comes the question. What is a prompt exactly? It is a request that we send to the chat compilation API for an answer. For instance, we ask the GPT model, "Hello, what is your name?" And we expect that the GPT model might respond us with something like, "My name is ChatGPT." The question, "Hello, what is your name?" is a prompt. You can try this question by using the ChatGPT webpage to see what it really answers you. It's definitely not answering you, "My name is ChatGPT." In addition to that, the question sent to the API should be a JSON object. This object contains the request string and some parameters required by the API. If you don't know what a JSON object is, that's fine. Let's take a look at an example. This is a sample of a prompt JSON object. The outer curly braces represent a single JSON object. Inside this object, there are 6 key value pairs parameters. Fields I marked in red color are required parameters. The others are optional. The model parameter indicates which OpenAI model you want to use. We're going to use the GPT-3.5-Turbo-0613 model. The message parameter is an array type parameter, and it can contain more than one toFields object. This example contains 2 objects in the message array. Each message object should have 2 string fields, raw and content. Content field contains things you want to say to the API. There are 4 different roles you can use for the role field: system, user, assistant, and function. The system role tells the GPT model how to react to the user's request. It's kind of a role-play configuration. But in newer versions of the API, the GPT model pays less attention to this role setting. The user role is as who sends requests to the API. And whenever the API responds, it returns as an assistant role. And the function role allows you to call other functions. In the following videos, we will utilize only the user and the assistant roles. Okay, next, the temperature, max tokens, and the n fields are numeric parameters. The temperature is between 0 and 2. The higher the number, the more random the results. The lower the number, the more deterministic the results. The max tokens parameter is a must for your application. Even the API says it's optional, because the bigger the number, the slower the response. The smaller the number, the shorter the response speed. However, if the number is too small, you might get an incomplete response very easily. In my experience, 200 is a suitable number. The n parameter is how many responses you want the API to return you. N equals 1 means returns 1 response. N equals 2 means returns 2 different responses. In this course, we always set it to 1. The last parameter, string, is a Boolean type parameter. String equals false. The API returns the whole response as a single string, which means Under this circumstance, the API takes longer to respond. When the string is true, the API returns partial messages in a series of string arrays. This is the way how ChatGPT reacts. Then what is a response? It's plain and simple. It's the answer you receive from the API. If you send a request to the API saying, "Hello, what is your name?" this paragraph is probably what it's gonna return to you. And of course, the API returns the answer string along with some required fields in a JSON object. It returns a unique ID, which model the response is returning from, and the creation time of this message. The fun part of a response is the following two fields: choices and usage. The choices is actually an array. It contains three fields: the index of this message, the message object itself, and how this response is finished. Remember, there's a parameter of the prompt object called n. If n is greater than 1, say 2, then you will receive a choices array with two different messages. The index of the first message will be 0, and the 1 for the second message, and so on. This is why the choices field is an array. How about the usage object? The three fields in this object tell you how many tokens this transaction consumes. Let's see this example. If we send a message saying you are a help assistant, hello, this consumes 8 tokens. And the API returns you with, hello there, how may I assist you today? This consumes 10 tokens. The whole transaction consumes 18 tokens in total. Okay, that's all you have to know about the chat compilation API. Let's get our hands dirty to make our robot ChatGPT enabled.